So this is a bit not my usual get up, seeing as I'd normally be on the other side of the lens, but after posting a few photos of my crinkly hair, which has been the lockdown look, I thought I'd just do a little video tutorial because it gives me something to do. I've always liked making videos and I've always liked doing hair. So yeah, I hope you find it helpful. It's not that complicated, but there's just a few steps I follow, and it's fairly low maintenance as well. But yeah, when I photograph weddings, I'm obviously working alongside lots of hair and makeup artists, and I've always loved that side of the weddings. And do you know what? If I hadn't have become a wedding photographer, I probably would have gone down the hairdressing route or hairstylist route, because I've always loved hair. So first things first, you want your freshly washed locks, which look absolutely delightful. I haven't been washing my hair that often recently, probably once a week, that's what the times have become, but when I do, I wash it through. Sometimes I do a double shampoo, put a bit of conditioner through the ends, and that's about it. So what I've been using is this Tresemme hairdryer protection mist. It's kind of like a leave-in conditioner. So step one is detangle. So just spritz this through all your wet damp hair. Mine is going to be super knotty. Okay, and then take your hairbrush, and I always start just by working it through the ends just to avoid the pain. Okay, step number 2, you want your hairdryer. So this isn't sponsored by Tresemme, but I just happen to have a Tresemme hairdryer. So if you were going to bed at night, you could just plait it up this wet, but obviously it will just take longer to dry whilst it's in a plait. So I always roughly hair dry my hair. It's really great because you don't really need to think about getting the style right. It's just literally taking some of that moisture away. So let's go. Once you've taken a good part of the moisture away, I do just bring the hairbrush in and just blow dry the front bits, just to keep the flyaway frizz away. So I'd say that's 90%, 80% dry, so that's a good amount of dryness. Which brings us on to step 3. So bring back the brush and just comb it through again. After the blow dry, it can be a bit of a frizz bomb, but you don't really need to worry about that because the French braid is gonna sort out those problems. So once you've got all the knots out, I do like to put a little bit of hair serum in at this stage whilst it's still damp. This one is really nice actually, and it's from Primark. It's Andrew, can't read his name. It's Andrew. I just always keep a bit of hair serum in stock, but I never really get bothered by what brand I'm buying. I just pick up some whenever I run out. So just get a pea size in your palm of your hands and just get that mainly through the lengths and the ends of your hair. I'm not going to be very good at talking through how you actually do this, but I'm sure if you go onto YouTube there'll be loads of like step-by-step French braid tutorials. But have your hair elastic on your wrist ready. I'll turn around, and one thing I will say is the smaller the strands and sort of the thinner and tighter you plait, the tighter the crimp effect you'll get afterwards. So if you just want quite a loose beachy wave, take bigger sections. I'd probably go somewhere in the middle, but it probably lasts a bit longer if you do it tighter. So it's completely up to you. I've also got a little fringe situation that I've been I guess I've been growing it out, I just haven't had a haircut for bloody ages. So I do make sure all the fringe is tied up in the braid, which can come out a bit crazy, but we can sort that out later. So the basic steps are 3 sections like you would a normal braid, and with a French braid it's feeding in, so each time you take your 3rd section you add a little bit more hair in, so it kind of all feeds in. There's the Dutch braid as well, which is kind of the reverse, where you plait it outwards, and I'm pretty terrible at doing those, so I just stick to my classic French braid. In this section we're going to add a small amount of hair. Just make sure you're combing out any knots, and again that's feeding over, and you bring this strand under, and then same again, add a strand in, okay, and then when you get to the end, just make sure you've got all the knots out and just do a normal 3-strand braid. Put your elastic in. So I would normally do this on an evening before going to bed, but I'm doing it in the day today because lockdown, you do things that you don't normally do in the day. Okay, so yeah, now that's step 3 complete. The next step really is either going to sleep or just going about your day, keeping your hair all braided in. So yeah, that's pretty much the complicated bit done now, and we'll just see. So I'll come back later on today and unravel, and you can see what this has achieved. Okay, so this would normally be the next day after sleeping on your braid, but for me I've done it in the day today, so it's maybe not looking quite as dishevelled as it would be post sleep. But normally what I do is I just grab the hair straighteners and I just run over the braid before I undo it all. So just give it a little run over, because it can get a bit frizzy whilst you sleep on it, especially this end bit. This is a good bit to straighten. So we're finally here at the last step of the crinkle head look. So the grand reveal, will it have worked as well as it normally does? Will it be dry? It feels pretty dry. Sat out in the sun today, so that would have finished drying it off. And just be careful as you braid it all, because you don't want to part the waves too much and make them go super frizzy. So just really gently unravel. It's looking pretty wavy. So then you just want to carefully kind of run your hands through it and shake it out a bit. Get a bit of volume at the roots. Okay. So as you can see, my fringe situation, there's not too much I can do about that. I tend to just roll with it and have it a bit as extra volume. But what I'll do first is I'll just get a bit more of my hair serum, just another small pea size, and I'll just run through the hair once more, just with a little bit, just to tame that mane. Do a bit of scrunching upwards, and the other side, just gently combing through it all and giving it a bit of va-va-voom. So just make sure my roots are nice and volumised. But that is pretty much it. So if you want to get your mane looking wild and fierce whilst you're in lockdown without too much hassle. As I say, if you sleep on it, it really doesn't feel like too many steps. Okay, so if it's day 2 of your wavy crinkle head, sometimes I plait it back up at night time, so I'll plait it back up, maybe just spray a little bit more leave-in conditioner in it, and then if I wake up and the roots are just a little bit greasy on day 2 or 3, I will use the nice dry shampoo, a girl's best friend, anyone's best friend. So yeah, dry shampoo just at the roots and shake it out a little bit to give the volume back. And I will sometimes as well just twizzle this bit out the way and clip it up just to tame this little fringe situation. You could put a nice headband on if it was day 2 and your roots are getting a bit greasy. But yeah, this does give good volume. So I hope that's been helpful. And yeah, I'd love to see some of your waves and your wavy lockdown locks. Thanks guys!